Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Money with Alpha. Like with a lot of the topics that I talk about, they're usually inspired by something that's happened either directly in my life or things I've observed. And this week's was actually inspired by an interview that I was giving on another podcast when I was sort of asked, what is the one thing that everyone can do to help them with their money and their money journey and stories and all of that? It was quite a big question, and what came straight away for me was simplicity and finding the joy in simplicity. So that's what I'm going to be talking a bit more about today, and it's really interesting because it's a theme that's been coming up for me a bit this year as well. And I just finished reading a book called Happy Money by Ken Honda, talking about a lot of these sorts of concepts as well. And just generally, I walk around my house and it's this stuff. I mean, I have lots of books and I love books, but there's also just so much stuff around. And it can sometimes feel like not blocks my energy, but it's just there's things there. I was like, unless we're actually actively using a lot of it, what do we have it for? And then I was listening to another podcast where the person giving like speaking was saying, we're not on this earth to collect stuff. We're here to have an experience, to connect with other humans, to do things, to make an impact, to grow, to develop, to support, to engage, to connect, so many different things. And I was like, this is so much on the path, and it's a lot of the message that I'd like to share today. And just generally, like I've been on a bit of a clear out in my house as a result. So I've gone through and I've actually cleared out a lot of the books, ones that I love and I refer back to and that I will read again. I've kept some that I just didn't really connect with, which is why now I try and actually, when somebody raves about a book, I was like, oh, fabulous. I will get it from the library and I will see if I like it, which is what I did with Happy Money. I got it from the library. I read it to the end and went, I actually like this book. This is a book I can see myself referring to and wanting to read bits again to be reminded of the things that he talks about. So I now have it on my bookshelf. So, and it's just things like that where just being a little bit more thoughtful, and it does actually save money, but that's not necessarily the motivation that I'm doing it for. It's just to really make myself be conscious of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and physically how many books I can actually read. I still have, oh my goodness, I don't even want to count how many books in my to read pile. Each at the end of each year I go through which books I want to read for the following year, and I try to be conservative and go, okay, I'll do a book a month. Realistically, I end up going through like two a month, and depending on the books, sometimes three. Depends how big they are and whether or not I actually get through it and go, no, that's not for me. But I have quite a few there. I was like, oh my goodness, they're just sitting there. I don't even know if any of them are any good. So I like to do that. And so I've been clearing out some books, and I got rid of easily two decent sized boxes of books. And I was like, I can share them with a charity who somebody else who really wants them can find them. And I'm a real believer that things find us, especially books and information, when we're ready for it. So those books are now back out in the world. And it's also that cyclical kind of thing. Like I'm a real proponent of the circular economy kind of concept where, we try and reuse and share. And I like buying secondhand. I actually just sold some dolls that I'd bought for my daughter that she doesn't play with anymore. And I'd bought them secondhand. So now they get to continue to have life. And it's also then a more reasonable price for someone, because obviously we're not sort of selling them for, the new price. And they're a little bit worn as well. So you price it accordingly. But it's nice to have that where you can share things or you can have things move along. And I just did another big clean out again of my daughter's room. We have so much Lego. So I thought, before I actually get rid of anything, I'm just going to tidy it all up and put it sort of back in a way. And instantly that night she starts playing with Lego. I thought, it was too cluttered. When we're cluttered, we stimify our creativity, and so we just don't feel like it. So now that things like that are more visible, like for instance the books, I can see them all more now, and I'm already more connected with the ones I've got. Even wardrobe, I have enough clothing for at least two, possibly three people. And I look at it and go, oh my gosh, I don't wear a lot of this. So I actually just got rid of like 2 bags worth of clothes. And I also then was trying on the clothes in my wardrobe. Because of course, as we grow, we change shape. I've certainly changed shape since I've had my daughter. Um, and there's some things that I used to love wearing that just don't really kind of suit me, or I don't feel like they suit me anymore. So I thought, again, I'm going to pass them on so they can have a new life. And it feels really good when I walk into my wardrobe and go, oh, there's stuff here. There's less here. I can see things. I know what they look like on me because I was trying on clothes as well to go, okay, do they still fit? That classic. Oh, I hope they still fit. And I do still have one dress that's a little on the small side, but it's kind of my, this is kind of where you used to be. I don't know. There's a memory attached to that one, so I hang on to it. But everything else, whether it fits or not, if I have not really felt like it anymore, I've let it go. So things like that, just clearing out the clutter. And it's not just, I mean, you can be as ruthless as you want. I don't see the point in just getting rid of stuff for the sake of it, because I have gotten rid of things in the past and gone, oh, I wish I still had that book. And I've some of them I've actually rebought because I've got, oh dear, I got rid of that book. And it was part of a trilogy. And I now have the final book, but I don't have the first two. And I would like to read it again. And I also like to lend it. I wanted to lend it to my mum. And I was like, oh, I don't have it anymore. I don't think I lent it to anyone, which means I must have given it away. So then I had to buy it again. So it's still being conscious of trying to future project what future you would like to do and what you would sort of, would you wear that again? And I'm a firm believer in do not get rid of clothes that are out of the season that you're in, because if I'm in the middle of summer and I'm looking at my sort of more wintry clothes, there's no way I'm going to feel like wearing any of them. So that's the wrong time to make that decision. So keep those sorts of things in mind as well. Making stuff is really fun as well. My daughter, especially children, they go in and out of phases with superheroes and all of this. And she wanted, I think I may have mentioned this not that long ago, but a ladybug mask from that Miraculous show. And I thought, you know what, I if I could even find it, I don't really want to like buy this thing. We had some craft material, I had some felt, and we made it. And it was so good because she's walking around going, oh, this is really cool. We made this. And then within a month, she was over it and yeah, didn't want it anymore. So I was like, I'm really glad I didn't buy that. So things like that. And then when it comes to activities and outings as family, we've gone a lot less that we eat out. Sometimes we might get takeout, or we'll buy takeout and go and sit and have a picnic. But more often than not, we just bring our own food, partly because you know exactly what you're going to get. I like to eat a certain way. Like I like to eat with as little sugar as possible. I'm vegetarian, I should say. I do eat some fish, but I'm quite particular about how much of certain things that I'll eat. And I just don't like it anymore. Like I've gotten to the point now where if I have something too sugary, my teeth actually ache. I'm just like, oh, I just don't like how it feels in my body. I don't eat wheat and I eat very minimal dairy, and very particular when I do. So stuff like that. I was like, I don't really enjoy eating all of that. So why would I go out somewhere and just eat something for the sake of it? So yeah, so going out for picnics. And of course I mean, it's not cost free, obviously, because you still got to bring your own food. But it's fun. And then you can literally go wherever you want. We've got our folding chairs, we've got a folding table. We actually went out for dinner at one time. We brought our boom box and we brought a little tablecloth and we actually just made like we were out for dinner, but we had our own stuff and we could sit right by the water at the bay and have uninterrupted views of the water without paying like a ridiculous price tag. And then bushwalks. We've taken my daughter is a bit older now and she can walk a bit more without going, oh, my legs are tired. And she loves climbing. So we try and find bushwalks that have some sort of climbing involved, or there's, rocks, or there's a terrain to it. Went walking recently in a mountain that's about a half-hour drive away, but it's got a creek, and the creek is usually pretty dry, so it's lots of boulders. So we ended up, instead of walking on the track, which we could see, we're walking up and then back again on these boulders, because for her it's fun and it's just a nice family outing as well. And of course it's free, which is an added bonus. And then you start to enjoy those moments more because there's something to share and connect in those moments too, rather than just constantly going out and being busy and noisy. I sometimes, I'm an ambivert, but I do tend to get like when you go to really busy, noisy places, I'm just there going, this is like overstimulation for me. I'd prefer to just have something a little bit quieter. So yeah, it's that simplicity. Think about what that is for you, because I've shared what it is for me, but it might be something different for you. And it's about making sure that you can have the world around you be the way you want. Do you need to get a cleaner in? Do you need to get somebody in to help you declutter? If it's not your area of expertise, is there some decor that you'd like help with, and you know someone who's good at interior design? Do it, because your home space, as I call it, is like your sanctum, your sanctuary. It should be there to support you in your business. I had someone do some dowsing in my office because apparently I had very, I think it was yin energy, and I needed more yang. I can't remember which way it went now, but they were doing that, and I was like, "Oh, this is good. I like this," because I spend a lot of time in this room. So it's really good to be able to have your space exactly the way you want it. And I love looking around my house and seeing it neat and tidy and not empty. Like there's still lots of furniture and lots of stuff in the furniture. But it's all kind of it's all visible. I can actually see it. There's not too many things hidden behind it. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what's in that cupboard. I'm not even going there. Although my daughter's craft cupboard is a little bit like that. It's getting better. We bought so much craft stuff during COVID, and was really still getting through some of it. And it's what, 4 years later. So we bought, yeah, we had a lot. And then, of course, we don't have as much time now to do it all because we're out and about more than I would probably like us to be. But just think about what simplicity is for you and what brings you joy. What's the feeling? And then what sort of activity will give you that feeling? And just reconnect with that, because quite often we just get caught up in the this and the that. And we're invited to this and that. And then we've got da da da, and we've got all these things that we should do, and then we don't always make time for the things that we really want to do. And then but more we do that, the more we disconnect from what, like I had a client recently and I asked her, what do you like to do for fun? And they're like, I don't know anymore. And it really hits me when people say that, 'cause it's not the first time I've heard it. I was like, you need to reconnect. What did you like doing when you were a teenager? When you were in your 20s? I think back, and I was pretty boring, really, but the same things sort of light me up then as they do now. But it's reconnecting to that if you've lost touch with it, and start to let it have a voice, let it be a priority, create boundaries around letting it actually come out. It's like our intuition. The more we use it, the stronger it gets. So experience that joy, because the stronger it will feel and be is when we tap into it. So tap into that joy and let it grow and grow. So I'll leave you to brainstorm. Take some time to actually think about it and just sit and be. You don't even have to write anything down. If you want to, then do. Sometimes it might take some planning, but just make it happen, because you are worth it to happen. All right. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.